tonight on Point Blank, we hit the camp of Vice President Dr. Bawumia. Miracles Dennis Aboagye is one of the spokesperson for Dr. Bawumia, and he's our guest tonight on Eyewitness News. Mr. Aboagye, thank you for joining us on Point Blank on Eyewitness News this evening.
Thank you, my brother.
How is it going?
So far so good.
So far so good.
We can't complain. It's been an amazing journey so far.
Amazing but tough.
Yeah, I mean, there's no easy elections anywhere in the world.
I see.
Even class prefect elections are tough.
Isn't this an easy one, because it appears people are tipping Vice President to
not
emerge
the Vice
victorious?
President. The Vice President does not underrate any elections. And so he's working hard, working to the end, working till elections are declared.
I see. But you are also a big person. You're a presidential staffer. You've served as an MC before. How has everything been going?
But I'm small, if you look at me.
Oh no, you are a big person. Also into local government and what have you.
I'm very, very small. But I think we are taking it one at a time. A lot of things happening at the same time. And once we can count progress, I think that's the most important thing.
What progress have you been counting?
Well, in several areas we see progress. Of course, there are teething challenges that we are facing, just as any other country is facing at the moment. But we see progress. We see progress in education.
But how do we act to concerns that these teaching problems you are talking about is as a result of your own doing as the government?
You know, that is false. I mean, that is not an entirely factual statement. And everybody that wants to be objective knows that that is not the case.
Because, well, we'll be going deeper into it.
Because if that was the case, then it should only be Ghana experiencing that situation.
But it's global.
I mean, exactly. But it's a fact that it's global. That across the world, every country is having their own fair share of this global economic crisis. I mean, we experienced something that the world hasn't seen in over 120 years. The Spanish flu was like when 1920 thereabout. Very few people are alive today who experienced the Spanish flu. And the fact of the matter is that there was a complete disruption of global supply chain, which affected, every other economy in the world. West of it are economies like ours, which were still building our fundamentals. And so the magnitude of the challenge, of course, is not the same. But we cannot say that this is an isolated case of Ghana.
I see. But let's talk about the campaigning specifically. How are things shaping up? Some 48 hours to that big one on Saturday. How has it been going?
The Vice President, for about 45 days, was on the road, engaging polling station executives, electoral area coordinators, and constituency executives across the country. So he did Greater Accra, Ashanti region, Western, Central, and Eastern region. These 5 regions are made up of 154 constituencies, and they have a total of about 128,000 delegates. But last week, Sunday, he finished with Eastern region on the constituency-based campaign. And so what the Vice President did was to take a break on the constituency base so he can focus on the special delegates. And so for the past 1 week, he has been engaging the close to about 1,000 special delegates across the country. And this evening is just about wrapping up the Ashanti region special delegates engagement, which would mean that he has visited all 16 regions meeting the special delegates. Then he gets back to Accra to wrap up with the other special delegates who are not in the regions.
All 16 regions. Yes. That's quite a serious one.
Yeah.
It means business.
It's a lot of work. I told you, the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, is the most hard-working politician I've worked with. With the constituency-based campaign, we do an average of about 4 constituencies in a day. And it would surprise you to note that there is no constituency that he speaks less than 1.5 hours. So basically, the Vice President is on his feet, speaking for close to about 6 to 7 hours every day. And we did all of this consistently back to back for about 45 days. And immediately we came back from Eastern region. The next day, we started a special delegate tour. We went to Oti region, did Volta region, passed to do Western North, Central, and today we are wrapping up the 16th region in Ashanti region.
But what's your thoughts really on concerns that, well, the vice president is actually abusing his incumbency, trying to campaign and also going about his official duties?
How do you abuse incumbency when you are doing official duties? I thought you would say that he's campaigning and he's not doing official duties. We would acknowledge
maybe the
that
results are not glaring enough because of the kind of economic situation we are facing. People think that instead of him to focus on, managing the economy, he's going about undertaking political activities.
Those are for me, I think, pedestrian conversations that people are allowed. I mean, in every election, which world do you have any politicians say that there's an election? Are we going to postpone the elections? Are we going to postpone 2024 elections because of the economic conditions? If we would, then why not? We cannot take a break and say there will not be any elections, so let's sit down.
But remember, President Akufo-Addo said that if any of his members in government actually has political ambitions, they should step down.
The vice president is always an exception. No president or no vice president resigns to contest a political appointment. Which democracy? Which democracy? It is the vice president is an appointee of the government. He was running as a running mate, certified before the president actually files for his candidature. Is that the case?
So you justifying that?
It's not justifying, it's the law. It's the law. It's not justification, it's the law. There's no law. There's no law. There's no regulation. The vice president is not like other appointees. He is not an appointee of the government. Okay, he ran on a ticket, on the same ticket with the president. Okay, even though his face is not on the ballot paper, he's certified as a running mate before the candidate qualifies to fully run for that election. So there are several things that the vice president will enjoy that all other appointees of government would not enjoy. And rightly so,
those enjoyments you refer to, that's what actually people are saying.
But that's false. You cannot make a blanket statement and just walk away with it. The vice president from day one has been running this campaign on his own resources. Okay, 154 constituencies. We visited all with the bus, a campaign bus. The vice president has not gone to any constituency on a state resource. All of us are in the same bus. 154. We've gone all the way to Wasa Menfi. We've gone all the way to Trifopraso. We've gone all the way to the farthest place you can think of in the eastern region, Afram Plains, north and south, and all of that, on a bus. And so if the vice president is running a campaign on his own resources, how do you raise an issue of incumbency? You can't assume abuse. You must establish abuse. And so anybody that mentions abuse, let them establish it. But you can't just assume that because I am vice president, I should necessarily be abusing some form of power or the other. At the moment, it is not a fact. The vice president has not, under any circumstance, abused incumbency in any way. This campaign is wholly run by the campaign team, resources raised from volunteers and individuals. We have a short code, *202#. You can try right now. Before I leave here, I'm going to encourage all of you, Samir Afi and Akosia them, so everybody should dial *202 and contribute. Every morning, every evening, we are sitting behind our computers and we are seeing tens of thousands of Ghanaians contribute towards the vice president's campaign. It will surprise you. Before we get to a constituency, we get calls. They will say, you know what, as you are coming, we have 800 delegates in this area. Their water, the seats they will sit on, their lunch, their TNT to and from their homes. Please, don't prepare for it. We are going to foot the bill. You have people who call you and say, you know, when you get to Mankasim, the filling station around the roundabout, it is for me. Park your bus there and then fill up and go. The media men that are with us, you can find out from your team. They are also in a bus. They are in a minibus following us. And so you can't just be there and assume abuse. You must establish it. And if you can't establish it, you don't have to force yourself to make such speculative allegations when there's non-existent.
But Miracle, how has the reception been on this campaign trail? And also, are people being whipped in line to throw their weight behind the vice president?
The members of the New Patriotic Party across the country have since the year 2022 been convinced that we have to win election 2024, both for the sake of the NPP and the Republic of Ghana, because of what happened in the past. We've experienced this before. This NPP party was in government in 2000 to 2008. Of all the things President Kufuor did, of all the transformations President Kufuor brought into our country, by the time President Kufuor was living in 2008, Ghana was called a gateway to Africa. We said we're in the golden age of business. Banks, Fidelity, Stanchart, Barclays were coming to our homes to beg us to come for loans. They filled the loan forms in our homes. That was how far we had gotten. President Kufuor was the one who introduced what we know to be today, social intervention policies, which ensure that if you're a Ghanaian, wherever you find yourself, it will be difficult for you to say that there was a government that I did not benefit anything from. National health insurance, free maternal care, school feeding program, free compulsory universal basic education became a reality under the President Kufuor government. And yet, in the year 2008, we encountered two challenges: fuel shortages, high fuel prices, and then water shortages. Remember what brought the famous Kufuor gallon situation. And so as a result of these two challenges, in spite of all the things Kufuor did, we lost that election. And the results or the repercussions of losing election in 2008 is what we experienced between 2013 and 2016, where industries started to shut down because we had energy crisis, where Ghanaians have to work for 12 months and they'll be paid for 3 months because government says we don't have money, where social safety net, like allowances that allow poor people's kids to be able to go to school, were withdrawn. The government says we didn't have money. That is how bad our situation was. 135,000 children were remaining on the street every year because the infrastructure wasn't there and the parents could not afford. So eventually when NPP had to come to power, instead of continuing from the glorious days that Kufuor left us, we had to dig back and try to fix a lot of the challenges or a lot of the gap that we had experienced between 2009 and 2016. What the party people are saying is that we don't want to go through that experience again. We want to ensure that, if not for anything at all, for the first time, the little gain we have made, the little successes we have achieved, we should put in place mechanisms and strategies to consolidate those gains, so that whilst we pursue the challenges and the outstanding things, we don't lose sight of it. Because see, what has been happening in the past is that in our pursuit of the outstanding things to be done, we forget or we lose sight of the gains we have made. By the time you come back, all the gains you've made have basically been washed away. And in order for us to do this and consolidate these gains, we need to win the elections. So the next question they are answering is, who within our party has the capacity to beat our opponent? Who is our opponent? His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. If you're going into a battle, you don't only rely on your own strength. You need to, first of all, before you even consider your capability, you need to look at your opponent's strength and weaknesses. And now that we've determined our opponent's strength and weaknesses, we are very convinced in our mind, we are resolute that the person within our party that can beat our opponent, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And that is the reason. That's the reason why throughout our campaign across the country, we've been embraced, we've been accepted, and we received by the party people the rank and file from the bottom to the top in the manner in which you are seeing. The issue of whip in line, come on. We have ministers of state who are not supporting Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, cabinet ministers. They were not affected by the whip. They didn't feel the pain when they were whipped. It's not true. It is not factual. It is false. Again, one of those defeatist arguments. When you realize that, let's say there are 80 ministers, you have 3 of them. The 3 of them, you are not rebuking them. You are not complaining. And you said, as for them, when you are moving, they should follow you. But because the other person has 81, all the 81, they've been whipped in line. Is it the case that the 3 following you have also been whipped to support you? There are over 130, close to 137 or 138 MPs. Is that the case? You have MPs like Botiano Sylvester following Honorable Alan. You have Deputy Minister for Finance, who is MP for Etiwa East, Abnasare. You have Honorable Carlos Ahinkra. You have Honorable Peter Mewu, who is a Cabinet Minister. You have Anyaso Tuom MP. You have Honorable Opoku Davis of Impraiso. All of these MPs are following Allah. They have not been whipped in line.
Dr. Bawumia was the right person to lead the NPP. Why do you think these MPs you are mentioning are not behind him?
In every democracy, there are dissenting views. And that is why we run with the majority. So if the majority have chosen Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is worried about the 10? There are 120 with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Who is worried about 10 or 12 without him. And why is it that you think the 120 have been whipped in line to follow Bawumia, but you don't think the 10 have been also been whipped in line to follow the other candidates? That is the logic that you have to interrogate yourself.
Here, so I'm asking in relation to
so that's why I'm also questioning that logic. That when people raise those concerns, it's defeatist. It is because they themselves have accepted that they lack the capacity to be able to convince people to follow them. Don't forget, in this our election, only one category of people in our party are not allowed to openly declare their support: the national executives. Any other person, ministers of state, DCEs, regional executives, constituency executives, polling station executives, members of parliament, they are allowed, per rules of engagement in our party, to declare their support for whoever they want. And let me tell you, as I sit here, in the decisions to be made around the flag bearership of our party this year, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the president, has the same power, the same right, just as I have. I have one vote, he has one vote. The polling station executive in your polling station has one vote. And it will be almost impossible for any individual to say that I am asking everybody to support one. In fact, I would be glad if that decision was taken, because really, it will make our work easy. At the moment, we have so many of the party people from the polling station to the highest level you can think supporting Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia because they believe in his message, because they believe in his capacity to win the elections for the party, because they believe in his capabilities to be able to lead us into the election 2024. You are saying that even if you believe Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia can do it, you shouldn't declare your support for him because you are worried that somebody will say what? That you didn't support them. They should rebuke the few who are following them.
I see.
Then we would understand that they are making it from a fair point.
But really, what's your thoughts around this school of thought, or those on the other side of the divide who believe that, well, Dr. Bawumia, as vice president by virtue being the head of the economic management team, has actually run the economy down, given the fact that he said some of the things in the past that he was going to turn the economy around, arrest the city. We've not seen that. And that he shouldn't be given the chance to worsen the economic quagmire.
Let the Ghanaian people decide. Our party's job is to determine who will lead us into the next elections. That decision lies with the party. When the party have their leader, the party and their leader will now go to the Ghanaian people and go and account to them of all the things we said we'll do, what we've been able to do, what is outstanding, and how we plan to do it. And then the Ghanaian people will decide that. Let me tell you, election 2024 is not going to be based on propaganda, spins, and rhetorics. Election 2024 is going to be based on measurement of performance of the various candidates. And good news is that we are going into an election with a candidate that has been president before, that has been vice president before. It gives us one of the best opportunities to have a fair level of measurement in terms of performance. When we get there, we'll take it sector by sector. Because don't forget, when we talk about economy, it is not only about the macroeconomic indicators that we talk about. Human capital development is part. Health is part. Agriculture is part. Energy is part. And so many others. So we are going to put all of these things together and measure and say that, okay, how did we fare under education? How did John Mahama, His Excellency, fare under education? How did we fare under health? How did he fare under health? That is how we are going into the elections. But ultimately, why are you worried? The decision is for our party. Let our party elect our leader. If our party people believe that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the one who can lead us today, that's their choice. And when we get there, they know how they will rally around their leader to be able to have this conversation you are having with the people of Ghana.
But I'm aware, I'm sure you've also seen the viral video, bundles of cash piled up with allegations that that's Dr. Bawumia trying to monetize Saturday's polls. Has it come to your attention?
That video, I'm just opening YouTube for you. That video was used during the same video. It was used during the NDC's regional elections. The NDC also used it within their internal elections and said that some of the executives were sharing that same video, that same money. During their national elections, that same video and that same money was used. During the NDC's flag bearership elections, that same video was used. During our national elections that we did in Accra, that same video that you are talking about, it was bandied around. In fact, last 3 weeks ago, that same video was bandied around that it was money found in Cecilia Dapa, Honorable Cecilia Dapa's bedroom. Let's move on and talk about serious matters.
I see.
But these are that you should know.
No.
These days, verifying these things are so easy.
For the ordinary public.
Yeah, I agree. But you should. You know, some of these things, sometimes you don't even let us clarify. You should tell them straight away that we are verified and we know. Fact check it.
When you go around your campaign, what aside from the message you put across and give to your followers, what else you do for them?
Why not? For example, if you come to my constituency, Ekiapem North, you have police station executives coming from Kentenkre. Do you know Kentenkre? Kentenkre is down there beyond Koforidua. When they come, they pick taxis and come to Ekropon, the venue. They come and sit in Ekropon, let's say 9 a.m. The meeting starts at 1 p.m. We close the meeting at 4 p.m. We give them their transportation, what they use from their homes to come to Ekropon. We give that to them. We give them water to drink. We give them food to eat whilst they are waiting. That is what we do for them.
These are things that have been classified as monetization.
It is anybody that says that. Which book are they reading? Which book? Under what authority are they saying that? Even in the churches, go and ask how they bring the people to the Independence Square. What are you talking about? That I am part of a voluntary association. Okay, this political party, if you're a police station executive, you are not paid, and that my party or somebody in my party has invited me to come for a meeting. I didn't go to my farm, and then I have come to the venue, and then my 20 cedis or 30 cedis I used for the transportation has been given to me, and you say it's monetization. Which book are they reading? Which democracy does it that? Go and see. Go to the US. They are busing people to their conventions. They are giving people food. They are giving people water. Even in the church, when we go for conventions, don't you give people water to drink? Are we monetizing the church? Are we inducing people to go to heaven? Sometimes we need to be realistic and face the reality. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it would be my wish that we even have more to give them beyond even the transportation that they brought. Because these people...
So if you have the opportunity or the resources...
If I have more, why not? Why not? Because if they go back to their constituencies, their polling stations, we encourage them to go and do door-to-door and house-to-house. Which institution, which organization, be it association, club or church, doesn't provide resources and logistics for their members to utilize to pursue the agenda or objective of the group? Keep faith clubs. Don't they pay dues? When they pay the dues, what do they use the dues for? Is it not to run the organization? These are the realities. Like I said, some of these things you don't speculate. You must establish them.
I see.
And if people speculate and you don't...
Is it the fact that you are justifying vote buying?
I haven't even mentioned vote buying. I am telling you that if you call that vote buying, it means that you do not understand. You have no authority to have a conversation around the conversation we are having. That somebody leaves his home to a meeting at another venue. You give the person water and food to drink, and you provide the transportation the person brought. You call it vote buying.
But we don't agree that perhaps the fact that you are giving this particular person this resource is actually going to influence.
How was the person supposed to come to the meeting to come and hear you?
No, through the personal resources.
How?
If the person
Which democracy writes like that? Give me one example of a democracy.
But if the case is that you are giving money to...
It's a very ignorant position. It's very ignorant for anybody to say that in an organization, even in the church, women fellowship, when they are traveling from the Latte Mount Calvary Methodist Church to Koforidua,
the context of church,
it is the same thing. It's not different. It is the same thing. It is the same thing. It is not different. When you have an organization, the organization resources its members for them to execute the objective of the organization. It is only when the person is doing something on his own that you would say that he should find his own money. But I can't invite you to a meeting. And then media, when the media come for meet the press, don't we give them transfer? We do. No, it is on record. I don't know. Please, it is even documented.
You are the ones.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. Don't take away. Don't run away from the media bit.
We have about.
Don't run away from the media bit. Is it
Bawumia
media buying?
Will be on the ballot paper on Saturday. Quickly, in 30 seconds, what's your message to
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia represents the hope of the New Patriotic Party and the future of Ghana. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia represents our biggest shot, our biggest opportunity to win the next elections in 2024 against His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. He has shown evidence, he has shown working in the northern region on how he was able to move our fortunes from 3 constituencies to about 16 constituencies as we speak now. And we are very convinced that if the party people should give him the vote, he has the capacity and capability to mobilize all of us around him to deliver election 2024 for us and to consolidate the gains we have made as a country and lead us into the new Ghana we are trying to build for ourselves.
I see, but there are also concerns that he won't win the election. Are you bothered?
Which election?
The main election, the 2024, the November election.
Oh, how? Let me tell you something. The way our party is structured, the way
Even
our
if
party
he becomes part
the
of
way
the top
our
five.
party is structured, whoever wins Saturday's election will win November 4th. If
But Saturday,
betting
five,
is
five
taxed
persons,
now,
five
so
persons.
we can't bet.
Five
Otherwise,
persons,
I am telling you that whoever leads the Saturday elections will win November. It is because of the way.
What if it's not Dr. Bawumia?
Whoever, that's what I'm telling you. But Dr. Bawumia will win the election on Saturday by not less than 70%.
Is it true that some people have expressed interest in being the vice if Dr. Bawumia becomes, the presidential candidate of the NPP?
Every politician's objective is to be vice and president one day.
Are you one of those?
Yes,
persons?
every politician. If you don't have that ambition, then you have no business being in it. It's like being a policeman. Every policeman wants to be IGP one day.
So you want to be vice
Everybody.
president?
Then why do you want to be president? So your objective is to hit. That's the highest.
Are you lacing your boots for that?
I am telling you that the highest point for every politician is to be president. And if you can be vice president, then you are close to being president. So if people are expressing those views, I think they are in order. They should continue to express, but the ultimate decision lies in whoever becomes candidate and the national council of the party.
Well, we get to know that at the end of the post on Saturday.
Dr. Bawumia will win by
thank you
less
so
than
much,
70%.
Miracles. Dennis
Thank you,
Aboagye.
brother.
He is one of the spokespersons for Dr. Bawumia.